Fast food didn't start with McDonald's, nor White Castle, not even A&W. It started with Thermopolias in ancient Rome 2,000 years ago. Today, we're recreating a full fast food meal, making one of the most common grab-and-go dishes sold at the time. We'll see why it was so popular and see how it compares against modern fast food. But first, we need to get those lentils hot and ready because our hangry customers are already waiting. And yes, thankfully this recipe does have aromatics like garlic, cumin, and coriander, which we'll gently roast and bloom in a slightly oiled pan over low heat. To add a salty balance, we'll be using a secret sauce, diluted anchovy paste, a stand-in for the famous pungent fermented fish sauce known as garum. This substitution was actually very common in Roman cooking, using whatever was available at the time. So after deglazing our thirsty spices with our fishy sauce, we'll let our lentils take a 30-minute covered simmering bath, mixing now and then. Now, no true fast food combo meal is complete without sauces, sides, and a drink. So let's make our ancient versions. Starting with a simple, no-proof classic Spelt flatbread, the perfect side dish for dipping and delivery system. After combining our flour, salt, olive oil, raw honey, and water, we'll just give it a good mix until we form a sticky yet dry ball of dough, before realizing this bread has a sticky mind of its own. So we throw it on the counter and start teaching this bread how to behave. Now this kind of bread is exactly what you'd find in Roman Thermopolias, literally meaning places where hot things were sold. Hundreds of these ancient fast food counters were scattered across Roman cities, using terracotta jars to keep food hot and ready to serve. These were popular commodities even after work, as most Romans were living in cramped, fire-prone apartments without kitchens. Archaeologists found over 150 Thermopolias in Pompeii alone, which tells you just how normal this kind of fast food really was. And it wasn't fancy food. It was cheap, filling, and made for everyday workers. Now let's shape our rested dough and finish our dish so we can taste it and see how cheap it really was compared to modern fast foods. So we'll be cooking this flatbread over a medium-hot cast iron skillet. We're leaving this until we have nice coloring and it's cooked all the way through. Also, try not to break it into a million pieces like I just did. Now the drink for this meal will be Roman Posca, a very common drink found in Roman culture. If you're curious about that recipe and its story, you can watch my ancient energy drinks recreation video. By now, our lentil stew should be thick and ready, and after giving it a rough match, we're ready to serve and finally taste. Now this kind of meal was often sold by the piece. You only paid for what you chose. If you couldn't afford a full meal, you might just want to buy some bread or a small portion of the stew with a drink. But more on the cost breakdown later. Now it's time to eat. And here we have it, a full Roman fast food meal built for a hard day's work. Not going to lie, despite the looks, the smell is pretty appetizing. Okay, so this was way better than I expected. I was worried about the fishy flavor being overpowering, but honestly, it's not even enough. This really needs some salt. So after adding some of our fishy sauce, it was so much better. The balance made much more sense. Sweetness from the lentils, saltiness from the fish sauce, earthy and nuttiness from the spelt bread. This is actually pretty good, and surprisingly, it didn't taste fishy at all. So while my peasant customers feast on this meal, let's do a quick breakdown of what this would have cost at the time. So a full bread would be 1 ass, stews like this usually ran between 2 and 3 asses, and a basic drink like wine or watered wine would be half to 1 ass, with premium wines costing more. Altogether, our Roman fast food combo comes out at 3 1/4 asses. Comparing with a modern fast food meal ranging from $9 to $12, with modern medium wages, that's roughly 5 to 7% of a day's income for a meal. But for Roman times, a common daily wage was around 8 asses per day, which means that single meal would cost around 40% of a worker's income. We can definitely say food is far more affordable today. Many Roman workers actually lived close to subsistence, even if their meals were simpler and often healthier. Luckily for my customers, this one was filling, and judging by the bowl, it was well enjoyed. So yeah, if you guys like this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Alright, that's it. I'm out.